Hey everyone, Ken Mason from Whispering Souls. Um, so I know a lot of times when I do reads, I often come up with, from Bernard saying that people are empaths and, what they do with empaths and whatnot. And I know a lot of people have looked at me and kind of said, what is an empath? Some people know what it is. Um, and certainly we think of empaths or people being empathic uh, in the regular world as people who are very sensitive to people. They can like to help them. Um, if somebody's hurt, they run up to them. They hold them, and so on and so forth. But there is a difference between the physical empath and the spiritual empath. So I'm going to try and make this as clear as possible, because there's all kinds of different ways that people think that an empath is a spiritual one. And it's certainly, when I do my readings there, I look at, and I'm giving them the spiritual view of the healing. And I always mention there's three paths. There's four healers. There's the psychological healer. There's the hands-on healer, or the specific part of the body healer. And then the third one is being the spiritual healer, which is you sending energy to somebody. But there's actually a fourth one, which I've started to add in because Bernard's told me to, and that's the empath. So the empath itself is the same as the physical one, but it has characteristics other than the physical one. For instance, an empath that is an older soul will have will want to be often by themselves. They like to, they like to heal people, but they get so much information and so much energy from other people that they have this tendency of wanting to be away from people, simply to re-energize or refocus, or really want to focus on one person. And they're the type, if they walk into a room, there's 20 people there, they'll get bombarded by lots of energy. So what will happen is that they'll get overwhelmed. And they'll sit there and they'll go, suddenly their emotions change. They start taking on the feelings of everybody else in the room. And it's similar to sit there and going, why am I bitchy? You actually get angry, you feel bitchy, you want to just get out, you lose all that sense of wanting to be, healing, or, The other type, obviously, is the younger soul, and they're the ones that are more apt to jump up to help people. They're usually a happy-going, lucky-going person. They want to go out, they want to help people, and almost every empath person was a type who'll sit there and they'll talk to somebody, and they'll, as the psychological part of it says that, the empath person is more likely to engage with the person in conversations and so on and so forth, and actually be part of that person, or feel like they're part of that person. And that way, that's what an empath is on the psychological side. They look at that person's life, and they look at how, they can perceive that life and how they could help that person with that life. Spiritual empaths usually look at it on the spiritual side, and again, it's more of being drawn to heal people. It's more about drawing people that you want to help, and not people that come to you. Old souls, like I mentioned, typically don't want to deal with a lot of people. They're very close. They're very specific on who they deal with. Spend much more time being by themselves, but they offer far more help and more influence into people than a young soul would. Simply because they're more concentrated, they can concentrate on exactly what you're doing. They understand because they have the old soul knowledge, and they can also get a person to come to a point very fast. Because they don't like rambling people. And you come up and see them, you're going to go, you got to be right to the point, because I don't have this type of time. They have their own projects. They want things to do. Um, you know, they want to sit on a deck every once in a while and just stare out in the sky and just be by themselves or be just with their partner. Younger souls need a whole bunch of people around them. And in a sense, some of the younger souls just seem to want people to acknowledge them as that either as well. My wife's an empath, but she never tells anybody. She never asks or tells people that she can heal them. If somebody comes to her and starts talking to her, she'll offer it. She'll offer it. She'll give it, but she's not going to sit there and say, "Hey, I'm an empath. I can help you." Again, she's a type, she'll walk in a room and all of a sudden she's not in a good mood because somebody's interfered with her. But how do we know that? How do we stop these feelings? Because there's times when people will go in a room and they'll just be upset for no apparent reason, and they'll think it's them, and they'll think, why am I doing this, and why am I being so miserable? And old souls like to be bitchy. And some people look at old souls that are bitchy and just saying, they're just cranky. But they're not. They just don't want people around them. But if you're feeling these all the time and you're wondering why, it's because you're picking up on other people's emotions. You walk in a room, somebody's bitchy. In the far corner, 20 people away from you. And all of a sudden you're starting to feel their emotions. You're starting to feel other people's pains, discomfort, bitchiness. And you pick that up two ways. You pick it up spiritually through the energy that you're picking up from people, but you also pick it up here because they're transmitting it into that aura space where we pick up things. There's with psychics and empaths and healers, pick them all up in this thing. It's the same as I've mentioned before, being able to sit there, think you want a pizza, then your partner says, "Hey, how about a pizza?" It's the same area. So if somebody is, in their mind being really, really bitchy, then they're broadcasting it. And that's why strong empaths will pick them up. Somebody has a pain. Well, they're broadcasting that pain. It's a physical pain, but you're still broadcasting it spiritually. What happens? The empath will suddenly feel the pain, and he thinks it's in that area, or she, or they. So you suddenly may have a sore ankle for no apparent reason. You think, what did I do to get a sore ankle? Nothing. Then your partner will walk in, he says, "I hurt my ankle." That's the empath. Empaths, exist all around the world. They're all different types. Like anything else, they go from 0 to 3,000 or 3 million types of empaths. You really can't say this is one type of empath and that's a different type of empath. You really can't do that. You can kind of put them in categories, like we do with old souls and young souls and medium souls and everything in between, because we're all growing in that area. We all are empaths in one way or another. Men not so much, because they're much more on the logical side and much more on kind of focusing on their own day-to-day stuff. Empaths, they can't, because they're getting all this stuff bombarded on them throughout the whole day. They come home, they're exhausted, they don't know why. They haven't done anything during the day. And that's because they're getting all this stuff that's being bombarded. They see somebody with pain, so they're trying to rush, in their mind, they're sending pain to that person, whether they know it or not. Some lady here is having, issues with her husband, and in your mind, you're sending her healing, or you're sending her thoughts. And, if you're doing with 15 to 20 people, all of a sudden you're sending thoughts, healing, and everything else to everybody in that room who's actually broadcasting into the astral plane. So here you have this whole kind of central thing where you're sitting in the middle and you have all this energy going all around you, it's coming through you, and all of a sudden it's why you sit there and go, why am I just all of a sudden being so bitchy? I don't want to be in this room. I got to leave. It's only been 10 minutes, but oh my God, I'm going to explode. And there's the reason why. How do we stop that? Well, a lot of it is basically paying attention to what's going on around you. To me, there's all kinds of ways. I know a lot of people have different ways. First of all, you should be grounding and protecting. So if you start feeling that, ground and protect yourself, and just let you know that, okay, I'm grounded and protection. The second thing you can realize is that it's not your emotions. It's not your pain. So why keep it? You say, it's not mine. So here you go. Take it. Tell your spirit guide. Take it. I don't want it. Put it in the astral plane so somebody else can grab it. And once you do that and you realize that, now you can calm down, realizing it's not me. So why should I carry it? The third option you can also do is most people don't usually do, but obviously you can sit down, you can ground yourself, and you give yourself healing. You can create that block. You can go and say, let's put up the wall. Let's stop everything from coming in. And I can just focus on what I'm supposed to focus on while this wall is up. You can do that, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes, if you start talking to somebody, that wall will go down because you're no longer focused on it. Personally, my best option for everybody is to, when you get a feeling or pain, whatnot, you try to realize, hey, is it me or is it not? If I suddenly become bitchy, but I'm happy, it's somebody else. Okay, that's not my bitch. Give me back my happiness. Get a sore foot. Hey, it's not my pain. My foot's fine. My wife at one time is very, she, she's an empath, I said, and she walked in the room and she was getting bitchy, and she stood up and yelled out, says, okay, who's bitchy in this room? And the lady in the corner says, me. She says, can you cut it out because you're affecting me? And she sat down and she was okay. I don't know how the other person was, but again, this is kind of the look at how empaths work, how they see things. People, like I said, old souls are really, really hard hit by it. Young souls, not so much, because they want to give out energy. Old souls don't want to give out energy because they have too much energy coming in. They just want to put that wall up, and I don't want all this energy. So it all really depends on how kind of an age you are, how much healing you want to do. If you're just oblivious to this, again, if you learn a bit about empath and where it's coming from, and that's all you need to know, then you can kind of, figure out how to solve this, how to solve these emotional things that is going on. Yeah. So that's all I have for you for when it comes to an empath. So anyway, see you in the next video. Take care, bye.